This is how to program the Aroon Up and Down, the CMF with a price stop loss movement for beginners on MQL4. So guys, to begin it off, open up your terminal and open up pound yen, because that's the currency pair we'll be working on today. Next, then we go to pound yen. Make sure that your properties look as the way you want to. For me, I always like it white, and I like it a little bit zoomed in right now. Then add the CMF to your screen. We can put it on any period you want, 10, 20, does not matter. Now we go to the Aroon Up and Down, and these are the two indicators that we're using for our expert advisor, our test trade. So basically, our first indication is when this little reversal happens for the CMF, and also when the CMF is trending positive. And when it comes to Aroon Up and Down, when the blue is above the red, will indicate a trade. And we're using buy trades. So next thing you need to do, once you know the way you want your indicator set up, and you guys can customize it to whatever you like, open up this little tab and press this right here. Next thing we're going to go do is hit New, go to Next, type in the name of the expert advisor you want. I already did in the background. Next thing, hit Next, and hit Next all the way through until it's finished. Now we get to our code, guys. And the first part of the code that we need to make sure that we do properly is type in this in the global. So delete everything except for the on tick and these properties. And then you want to do is this, type in int move underscore SL underscore lock. Okay, so this will be our price lock for the trade. Okay, this will help us out for when it's help us control and have a reset. Now let's move on to the on tick. And the first thing we want to do is do an if statement. So if orders total parentheses double equals 0. So we want to check if this equals 0. And if it does, we want to ensure that price lock equals 0. Now make sure there's only one equals and not 2 for this part here. So let's move on to the part that we have already done in our last 2 videos. This is the same information. We're going to have the Aroon Up and Down and the CMF. Okay, let's go through that right now. We're going to have it as a double because we don't want it as an int, because we want more than just more than a whole number. Now, we name this as Aroon Up or AUD underscore up, and we do I custom. If you want to learn how to use I custom, just do F1, and it'll break that down. But as we continue on, we're going to use null. Null allows it to run on all currency pairs for your broker. 0 means the default time frame. So if you want it to a fixed time frame, just change that to the 15 or 20, or just go through that setting to allow you to change it. The name of the indicator, the period of the indicator, and which mode. And we're going to use mode 0 for this, which means upper, and this would mean lower, or blue or red, for example. All right, we're going to make sure our shift is at 1, and we're going to name this 1 back. Just to help us name it a little bit easier. So this will be 1 back and 1 current. Now, you guys don't have to use that. If you want to, go ahead. Now, when it comes to the CMF, the exact same information as our last video. We're going to use the CMF 0. That's the current candle, 1 candle back, 2 candle back, 3 candles back. Same thing for this right there, 1, 2, and 3 back. Name of the indicator, pretty simple stuff, right? Remember, refer back to my previous videos when it comes to the CMF if you want more details about that. Now let's go back to our 2 buy scenarios. Our first buy scenario and second buy scenario. Whichever works will get us into the trade, okay? Our first buy scenario, we make sure that the Aroon Up and Down is that the up is greater than the down, and the second candle back, the Aroon Up and Down is working. It's up. The blue is above the red. Now, this part of the CMF is the same as the last code as in the previous CMF video. CMF is greater than 0, CMF 1 is greater than 0, and CMF 2 candles back is greater than 0. So we have a trend going up of positive indication. Okay. Our next thing is buy in scenario 2, where the CMF is greater than the CMF 1, and we're going for that little bump up thing right there. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if you want to get into a reversal buy, this will help you out. So when you see stuff like this, you'll enter in here. When you see stuff like this, you'll enter in there. When you see stuff like this, you'll enter in there. And if you keep going back, stuff like this, you can enter into that trade down there. See? Now, you guys can program what you like, but this is just 2 examples of entering into trades, okay? Our next thing we're going to do is when we go back to the screen is look at, because that's our 2 buy scenarios, okay? Our first thing before we enter in our trade is to make sure that orders total does not equal 0, right? So once it checks it equals 0 and we confirm, we'll move on to either buy scenario 1 or buy scenario 2 equals true. And if one of those 2 are true, then we'll engage our trade. Now, I'm using the exact same trade information on pound yen as I did in the other videos. But to break it down, we do an int. We do a buy order. This is BUY as the name of the int equals order send. We have it as null, int execution buy, or option 1 buy, or OP underscore buy. Our lot size is 0.01. We're going to enter in off the ask price, our slippage of 10. And when it comes to our stop loss, we want our ask, then our orders right there, and then the stop loss about 50 pips lower, okay? And we're going to enter in the ask plus 150 pips for our take profit. Comments are null. Our magic number is going to be 1. And this timer always is 0 because it's not a pending order. Our next thing is going to be the color black. You can use any color you like. It does not matter. Now we move on to the second phase, okay? Once our trade engages, and just say we're in steaming profit, but it hasn't hit our take profit yet, we want to make sure that we hold those profits because it moves too far up. We want to lock in that trade to make sure we don't take a loss, okay? If orders equals 1, so that means if total orders equal 1, that means we have 1 active order, and our stop loss equals 0. And it should equal 0 because nothing has changed that value, see? Nothing has changed that value to 1 yet. Or equals 1. Well, you can make it actually equal to anything else if you'd like to, but it can be equals to anything. But just as an example. Now we're going to use a for loop. And if you want to learn how to use the for loop, I've made other videos specifically covering loops. But for this quick example, where our for loop is our int. Our int means our kind of like our I. Like it's going to hold the value of I. And of orders total, my bad. And orders total is going to equal 1. Long as 1 is greater than or equal to 0, then it's going to do I minus minus, means it's going to minus it by 1, but it's going to check all the active orders in this scenario. So once this loop runs, it's going to check if order select I, remember that's position 1, it's going to start off with 0, then 1. Select order position, so that's because we have multiple positions in the active orders, and we're going to check the 0, 1, and then the first one. If mode trades equals true, and if the trades, select amount of trades equal true, we're going to move on. If order type equals buy, which it does, OP buy, the order symbol equals the order trade, so order symbol equals order trade, and our magic number equals 1, right here, then we're going to go down to our next part, okay? If the ask is greater than the open order price that's selected, and plus 100 pips. So if the ask is, so here's our place our order. If the ask price is greater than 100 pips, so let's say 120 pips, then we'll proceed down here. And that's where we're going to end. We're going to do our int, and our order is going to be the order ticket because of that selected order. The bool, this is going to be our bool. It's going to either be yes or no. It's going to be our price lock. Now, if the order modify is our order ticket, and we're going to use 0 for here, and this is going to be just for the current screen. We're going to use the order open price, and that's going to be plus 25 pips for the stop loss. So our stop loss was negative, was down negative 50. Here's break even at 0, about a little bit with the spread and stuff. But we're going to add 25 pips. So the current market's above 100 pips, and we're currently at 25 pips, locking in 25 pips of the trade. The order open price is going to be, for the target profit, is going to be 150 still. It's going to be color aqua blue. And our stop loss is going to equal 1. Now, you can make it equal anything greater than 1, greater than 0. As long as it's greater than 0, you're fine. So this won't keep running forever, causing errors. It'll lock once, and then we get a print called trades SL move to lock them out. See that? So once that happens and it locks, and we don't have to have that issue of it running over and over and over and over and over again, then Once the code changes, once it updates, this will be 1 and it'll be false. So now we're not going to do anything until either the stop loss hits or the take profit. Now we're going to hit compile and we're going to actually see this run live. Okay. We're going to go to Aroon and CMF and stop loss. This is going to run on pound yen and on the 1 hour. Okay. We're going to hit pause. So when it starts to run, we're going to actually freeze it up and change the view a little bit. Now there's ways of you automatically doing that, but that's not the purpose of today's video. Let's do that right here. Change this up a little bit and make it a little bit easier to see. And let's get rid of the data window. We don't need that. And if we add our indicators and we go back to see our period on the indicator is 20 and 14. So standard default amounts. So we add our Aroon Up and Down, 14. We add our CMF, it's at 20. See? And you can see when we entered our first trade, it was right here. See? Positive, positive, positive. That's buy enter number 1 and buy enter number 2. So we didn't enter here so much because of what? The Aroon Up and Down was negative. So you guys can actually go back if you don't like that setting and be like, okay, it's too specific. Let's just back that out and take that out right here. Now it's not going to update so much because it's already started. So we can just hit start again and make sure we hit pause because I like to change the color. There's ways to change the color automatically, but we're not going to do this in this video. Make it real simple for you guys. And then we're going to do this right here. F8, go to white, black on white. We're going to go to here. And now we enter at the very bottom. Look at that bottom. And you can see we already moved our stop loss from this portion here up to here. Now you can change the stop loss to any amount you want. 10 pips, 25 pips, 50 pips. Just you can't do 100 pips, so you don't have an error, okay? Just do a little bit less than that. Remember, there's that spread. See how it says 25? That means our stop loss moved up to 20 plus 25 pips and locked in the trade. Okay. Now when you see it run, see how it took profit right there and locked in right there? Now our trade keeps on locking as it moves up. Stop loss locks right there. Hits take profit. Stop loss. Now you guys can modify that to what you want. It's up to you. You guys can even have a trailing stop loss. For this video, I want you guys to learn the basics and learn how to lock in your trade first before making a trailing stop loss. A little bit more complex, but this is going to be the basics. See how it locked in that trade and hit the take profit? Now, there's other things you can do to lock in that stuff to make sure it's a little bit easier, but this is just a basic beginner video on how to use the Aroon Up and Down, the CMF, and also a price lock. Those 3 elements will improve your trading and also make your EA a little bit smarter. Now, there's other elements. If the other elements you can add, just let me know if you want me to add them. And remember, guys, if you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section below. Let me know if you have any, if this was a good video or a bad video, and I can update this and add more and more to it. Just let me know, okay? But that's it, guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys on the next programming video. Peace.